So today I'm going to share with you the 9 best pieces of advice that I got when investing in real estate. But before I jump in today's show, if you have not been to our website, you got to head over to nextlevelwholesaling.com. And there you actually can download a brand new giveaway that I am going to deliver to you. And that is the 1-page plan for your wholesaling business. If you're looking to make 2024 your best year yet, you want to make a ton of money in the least amount of time, and want to eliminate the clutter in your mind and trim the fat and get rid of the overwhelm. Again, you want to make bank in the first 6 months of the year, you got to download the 1-page plan. Go to nextlevelwholesaling.com/1-page. It's going to take you like 15 minutes to figure out, and it's awesome. So again, go to nextlevelwholesaling.com/1-page. All right, let's jump over to the 9 best pieces of advice that I've gotten in real estate. Now, some of these were directly given to me by mentors. Some of these were picked up by books, and I pieced those together. And some of them were from really, really good friends who had just been in the business longer than I have. So all of these, again, are tried and true. I've experienced all of these in my business, so I am not regurgitating some piece of advice, and one of the things that I'm really sick of hearing out there are people giving advice on stuff they've never experienced. And I got to tell you, I've been in this business since 2002. I've experienced the up and down markets. I've also spent a lot of time coaching, and I know what the successful people do in this business and what the people who struggle do every single month. So that being said, here are my best 9. Number 1, arbitrage the money. I remember when I was investing in real estate, I remember I was using all free marketing channels, and I was just starting to get into direct mail, and I was talking to a coach and mentor, and he's like, why don't you spend more money on marketing? And I'm like, I don't know, it seems expensive. And he says, Todd, you got to arbitrage the money. And I'm like, well, what do you mean by that? He's like, you got to turn $1 into 5. And you got to do that game as many times as possible. As long as the market's allowing you to do that game, you got to arbitrage the money. Turn the $1 into 5, turn the $1 into 5, turn the $1 into 5. So it's not about how much money you are spending in your business. It's about what is the return of that money, the ROI. Now, this could work for you and it could work against you. I see so many people out there overspending in their business, and they're just spending so much money on marketing, and they're not aware of their return. So you got to arbitrage the money in a good way. So one of the things I talked about on that 1-page plan is you got to know what your expected return is. It should be minimum 4, preferably 5, better yet 10, right? But you got to understand what that is and understand arbitraging the money. And if you can invest that money and turn $1 into 4, that is a phenomenal investment. So arbitrage the money. 2, and this specifically goes back to wholesaling in specific, and that is the law of diminishing returns. And so I am a very, very, very big fan of squeezing as much revenue and profit out of a deal as possible, as long as it is in alignment with the effort and risk involved. Okay, now there is a big, big, big difference between squeezing every single dollar out of a deal versus squeezing every single dollar out of a deal in alignment with risk and effort. So Todd Toback is going to recommend that you do not get in the rehabbing of properties business. Why? It is because if you have a good buyer's list, if you market your property correctly, if you create competition, you could squeeze a lot of juice off that deal. Okay, you could squeeze the lemon and get almost all of the juice out of it. And the money is made by buying a good deal up front in the real estate wholesaling business. It is not made by rehabbing that property. Because, are you ready for this? Rehabbers, people who rehab houses, are willing to take inordinate amount of risk and time and energy to rehab properties, more than I think you should take. And so you want to capitalize on that. I'm not saying your rehabbers aren't going to make money. They are, and they will, right? But if someone wants to spend or borrow $300,000 so that they can make 30, go ahead. That's a good deal for them if that's what they want. But for me, I'd rather see you wholesale that deal for $40,000, get out of the deal, move on to the next deal, and wholesale that deal to that rehabber who's going to spend 4 months and another $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 to rehab that house, deal with the contractors, deal with putting it on the market and the multiple listing service, repairs at closing, and take on the liability of actually selling a finished product to a buyer, and leave that $30,000 on the table. Because to get that extra 30, you got to take on a lot more time. You got to take on a lot more risk with the money. You got to manage a lot more people. You got to wait to get paid, right? And then afterwards, you're going to have liability of selling to a retail buyer, okay? Believe me, if you don't think you have liability, or if you haven't flipped, let's say 30 or 50 houses, you have not been in this business long enough. Okay, you have a lot less liability selling to a cash buyer because hopefully using the right contract, because you have making no representations or warranties or guarantees about the property. When you sell to a retail buyer, that's a little different. So that being said, the law of diminishing returns, you want to squeeze that lemon, okay, up until the point that it's no longer worth it. And to me, that's the point where you could sell to top dollar to a group of competing fix and flippers. So number 3, invest in your style. So I see many people who get caught up with other people, what they're doing. And so they have something that's working, that they love, that they're good at, that they're mastering, like real estate wholesaling, and they get caught up in another strategy. So they're like, hey, I want to get into Airbnbs, or I want to start rehabbing properties, or I want to get into apartments. And I'm not saying you shouldn't grow and evolve. That's good, right? But you have to invest with what resonates with you, something that you can dig your hands in. And whatever strategy you are involved in right now, that is the strategy that you want to stick with, because anything amazing, you're going to have some longevity in that business. You got to get your hours in. You got to learn what works and what doesn't. And, you know, it's good to read from books, but if you don't do it, man, oh man, oh man, I tell you what, you are going to really, really shortchange yourself by not mastering something. For me, I've been wholesaling for a very, very, very long time. And I always tell my team members every time they get distracted, I love real estate wholesaling. It's a phenomenal business. I've mastered it. Now, I still have more to learn, but that is one of my things. Wholesaling real estate and mobile home parks, right? Those are like the two things that I love. That is my style. One of my previous episodes, I talked about apartments. Apartments really aren't my thing, okay? Could I invest in apartments? Sure, but I just love, love, love mobile home parks. That is my thing, and so I'm going to focus. And so when I hear distraction, I'm going to put blinders on, and I'm going to say, no, this is the thing that I want to get really, 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 really good at, okay? Perfect example is one of the really important skills of wholesaling is learning how to sell, how to close, how to communicate. And there's a big difference between people who understand this skill and people who don't. The No Limit Selling System, which I sell, is a training program that teaches you how to master that skill. And if you're not focused on wholesaling, you're going to be like, well, I don't need that. But if you decide, you know what, this is my profession, this is what I do, I'm going to master my craft, someone's going to invest in that, and they're going to watch it, and they're going to train themselves on it and role play and get really, 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 really good, and hopefully make $1 million a year in wholesaling. And by the way, if you want that system, go to nolimitsalessystem.com. But the truth is, most people are scattered, and they're trying to invest in their style and everybody else's style. And they're a jack of all trades, a master of none, and they don't really invest in that specialization, and they miss out. And so find your style, find your thing, and go deep. Deep. What is your profession? Okay, that's a famous line from the movie 300, by the way. Type in anytime YouTube 300, what is your profession? A really, really, really good scene. Next, number 4, partner with others. Now, this is a dangerous one. When I say partner with others, I want you to partner with people who have skills and resources that you do not have. Okay? A partnership is built on a complementary relationship. So my wife, we have an excellent relationship. We are complete opposites. We have the same values, but we bring two separate things to the table. And I can't imagine being in a relationship, and I've seen it, where two people actually have similar personalities and they bring similar things to the table, and it's like they're always competing with one another. You want your business partnerships to be complementary. For example, if you are just starting out and you're like, look, I want to make $1 million this year. A really, really, really good partner may say, I'll tell you what, I'm going to fund the business completely. You run it. You run all the day-to-day, but I'm going to give you $200,000 to start your real estate wholesaling business or take it to the next level this year. My contribution is that 200 grand. Yours is the operational knowledge and the hustle, right? That's a really, really good example. Now, a way that you can even make that partnership better is say, hey, this partnership will last a year, because by then I will have now raised some of my own funds and kept some of the profits and reinvested them back in the business. You will have earned a good return. We can still remain friends, but this partnership will end after a year, right? That's a phenomenal way to structure this. If you want to grow a bigger business, if you have someone who loves operations, loves managing people, loves hiring, loves to delegate and admin tasks, and you have someone who is a visionary and loves to move fast and close and go out and get the deal, those two marry each other very, 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 very well. If someone is good at finding mobile home parks and managing mobile home parks and operating those mobile home parks, and you've always wanted to get in to that industry and you've got some money, right? That also is a good partnership. Okay, if you're a regular listener and we have a relationship and you want to learn more about partnering with me, you can go to nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/invest and invest alongside me. Partnerships are really, 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 really important, but you have to make sure that one person is bringing something to the table that the other person isn't. One more caveat here I'm going to throw in here. Never, ever, ever have two part-time people in a relationship, okay? I see a lot of people, they start businesses where each person has multiple businesses and each person is working part-time in this new venture. Forget it, okay? No chance of that working. I can tell you that right now, okay? Two part-time people equals no business. Just FYI, if you're in a partnership and you're like, it's not working, and you're part-time and they're part-time, forget it. Someone's got to be full-time. And by the way, the partnership doesn't need to be 50-50. Okay, next. 5, focus. I've talked a lot about this. If you don't know what you're doing for 2024, you got to download the one-page plan. Go to nextlevelwholesaling.com/one-page. Okay, you got to know your market, got to know your marketing channel, got to know what you're doing week in and week out. You got to know who's on the train, who's on your team, and what they're supposed to be doing. Take a look at everything in your business, cut out all the fat, focus on the top 1-2 things that need to happen right now and eliminate everything else. If you're in multiple markets, get the hell out and focus on one, please, for all things holy. Number 6, you got to get out of your comfort zone. I talked a little bit about arbitraging the money earlier. My mentor, when I was scared to death to spend $3,000, he's like, how do you spend 10? How do you spend 15? As long as you can get that return, spend it. Spend it. Okay. I've learned how to invest more money into marketing. I remember the first time I bought a commercial real estate deal, I was out of my comfort zone, but I was educated. I was focused. I knew what I had to do. And I did it and I grew. So Take the leap. All right, number 7, let the market finish off your competition. So this is really interesting. So at the time of this recording, this is December or almost December of 2023. And the market in one of my markets all of a sudden has taken a massive rise. There's been a rise in inventory. Things are kind of slowing. And it's really funny. Everyone's starting to call each other, hey, what's going on in the market? What are you seeing out there? And I've had people like worry about oh my gosh, I can't sell my deals, and the sellers, they're not agreeing to the prices that we need, which I kind of laugh and chuckle about that because I think this is like the best thing ever, because your competition is going to like run at the first sign of adversity. They have no staying power. They're not focused. They don't understand that it matters what happens over a period of a year, not a month, right? And then so when they get scared and unfocused or try to do a niche or jump to some other new strategy, I'm building my business and I'm going out there and getting big, fat, juicy deals. Maybe there are some slow times, but if you can discipline yourself to get through some of those tough times, the field will be cleared. And all of a sudden you're going to be in a sea of opportunity. There's a great scene from the movie Forrest Gump, and depending on your age, maybe you've seen it or maybe not, where Tom Hanks, who plays Forrest Gump, is with Lieutenant Dan, who is his friend and also a injured war veteran. They have a shrimp boat, and the shrimp boat does not catch any shrimp, and it's having a hard time. There's a lot of competition, and there's a giant storm one time where they're out to sea, and they weather the storm, and they're out there, and Lieutenant Dan is at the top of his ship, and he's screaming, "You call this a storm?" And it was a great metaphor because, you know, he's not scared. He's leaning into the storm. And so they go into port after the storm, and every single shrimp boat is destroyed. And they are the only shrimp boat left. And ironically, the shrimp starts coming in and coming in and coming in and coming in. And Bubba Gump Shrimp, which is the name of the shrimp company, goes on to sell for millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars. And that's because they let the market finish out their competitors. They had staying power. All right. Number 8, marketing gets you into the kingdom, but sales will make you king. I'm going to respond to that. Marketing will get you into the kingdom, but sales will make you king. If you are not marketing, you don't have a business. You can't even get in the game. You've got to get into the kingdom. So that's why the marketing must come first. And then you got to learn how to sell, which is also just important. You will become king of that kingdom. Those two things are so important. You need both. One of my favorite marketing channels right now is direct mail. You can also do influencer marketing. There's a lot of ways to do deals, but you gotta market, you gotta get into the kingdom, and then you gotta use sales to get big, fat, juicy deals. Okay, check out the No Limit Selling System. That's nolimitsalessystem.com. Okay, number 9, hold a deal a year. I love investing in real estate. I love wholesaling. I love big, fat, juicy deals, but I also love equity. Now, I have held them all. I've held single family rentals. I've held apartment buildings. I've also held mobile home parks. If I had to redo this all and start from the beginning, I would have started with mobile home parks and just held them. Okay, love those things. And so for me, that's a deal a year, or 2 deals a year, or 3 deals a year, whatever that is. I'm not as big of a fan as on a single family house. However, if you're not gonna hold anything but a single family house, then do that. Okay, I've made a lot of money on single family houses, but if I had to go back and start from the beginning, it would be parks, period. So find a way to hold the deal a year. You can either hold your own deal, find your own mobile home park, or you can invest in somebody else's deal, right? Jump in with me. If you want to know more about that, you can go to nolimitrealestateinvesting.com/invest. If you want to jump in one of my mobile home park deals, you can also, again, find your own deal. If you got to hold the single family, go ahead. But my goal for you, again, is to build your equity and build your cash flow. The beauty of this is that, and ask your accountant, but you are taxed differently. your properties will hopefully appreciate and cash flow, and your wealth will grow while you sleep. So hold a deal a year. All right, so let's review. Number one, arbitrage the money. How quickly can you turn $1 into 4 or 5? Number two, law of diminishing returns. Bring the deal as far as you can until the effort and risk are no longer worth it. Number three, invest in your style. Don't get distracted. 4, partner with others, but make sure people are bringing different skill sets or resources. Don't partner with your friends if they're not bringing anything to the table besides the friendship. 5, focus. 6, get out of your comfort zone. 7, let the market flush out your competitors. Have staying power. Use your consistency as an advantage. 8, marketing gets you in the kingdom, but sales will make you king. And 9, please, for all things holy, hold a deal a year and grow your long-term wealth. If you want to invest with me or jump in a deal with me, check out nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/invest, and I will talk to you on the next episode.